I think it's actually a controversial question whether non-white people even can assimilate at all. And there's further questions. Can non-white people ever, on any timeline, under any circumstances, assimilate? I don't know. That's maybe the most controversial question to ask. And it begs the question, what is assimilation? And we understand the basics. Do you speak the language? Do you practice the culture? Do you understand the founding documents? Do you observe the holidays, the national, federal holidays, the religious holidays? Maybe you say it has something to do with being a Christian. But on some level, assimilation is deeper. It means, do you see yourself as American? And what does that mean? I don't think even black people see themselves as American. Some of them do. And some of them are patriots. And many black people love America. But when they're trying to get their own national anthem, their own flag, their own Independence Day, their own founding fathers, is that assimilation? And how long have they been here? 400 years? They want to have a red and green American flag to reflect their favorite cuisine. They want to have their own national anthem. They don't even sing the same happy birthday song. You know, they sing the Stevie Wonder song. They want to take a knee for the flag. They have Juneteenth. Martin Luther King Jr. and Abraham Lincoln founded America with Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. They want her on the money. They hate Thomas Jefferson. They hate George Washington. And it's not all of them, but that's a significant portion of them. So now, granted, blacks speak English. They've been here for 400 years. Many of them are Christian. They go to the schools. They're integrated on some level in the major metropolitan cities. They go to universities. But in some cases, even they have their own colleges, historically black colleges and universities. Are they meaningfully assimilated? Would they say, I'm American and I identify with another white person as American? I think that's a stretch. So who does see themselves as quintessentially American? I would say it's European immigrants. Polish, Italians, Germans. Like, there's Germans living in Pennsylvania for 200 years. They're as American as any English, Scots-Irish. Same with people, French. And they have their own ethnic flavor, but they see themselves as, yeah, I'm American. Do recent arrivals from Latin America? No, they don't speak English. There's so many schools in Chicago and LA where not a word of English is spoken in the entire building. They don't say the Pledge of Allegiance in English. How about these Indian immigrants? How about the Muslims? They're clannish. You know, and this gets even into, is assimilation possible at all? I don't know. I don't think so. For non-white races, I think it's exceedingly rare. But let's say maybe they can assimilate in perfect conditions. What would those conditions be? Well, only if they're vastly outnumbered by white people. I think those are maybe the only conditions where they can that would be perfect conditions for assimilation, is if they're surrounded by heritage Americans that have been here for 10 generations, and maybe over time they might assimilate. Under perfect conditions, that's a maybe. But we're far from perfect conditions. We have a country that's already so diverse and became diversified so rapidly. The people are coming here in such large numbers and forming ethnic enclaves. It's actually adverse conditions. If an Hispanic comes to Chicago and in 3 miles in any direction, it's all Hispanics that only speak Spanish and the signs are in Spanish and it's all their food and culture and parades and everything, how's it even possible? Even if you think it is possible, how's that going to happen? It doesn't. And the same goes for these Muslim cities they're trying to set up, like in Dearborn or Somalia. It's same with these Indian enclaves where they build all the new construction and they take over a whole subdivision. It's the same everywhere. And so this is the classic problem with immigration. First of all, you're bringing in huge numbers of people. They have nothing in common with us. They don't want to assimilate. The conditions are not such, even if it was possible for them to assimilate, and it never ends. There's never a pause like there was throughout American history, where we open the door, we close the door, we open the door. And this was for Germans, Irish, Italians. This is for racially white, Christian, culturally European. This is for people that had a lot in common with the founding stock.
I allowed this man to finish. He said a few things that were accurate. He had some valid points. A lot of this was just straight up bullshit, right? So all Americans see themselves as American, and just like he breaks off the Northern Europeans, like the Germans and the Polish and the Spanish, he says all those people can be American and keep their heritage, right? So it's okay for those people to know about their lineage, but if black people know about their lineage, Indians know about their lineage, Hispanic people know about their lineage, he says it's some sort of problem. I agree with Nick that assimilation can be tough. I agree with Nick that a lot of groups, even when we integrate, we still section ourselves off. But that's not just by race. Women talk to other women and not just men. Wealthy people talk to other wealthy people, not middle people in the middle class talk to the middle class. We section ourselves off, but we still see ourselves as American. We still see ourselves as human beings. So I believe that we have already assimilated as a society in terms of school, in terms of friendships. I have many friends who are Indian. I have many friends who are Jewish. I have many friends who are white. I have many friends who are Hispanic. I feel like people have I have friends who are homosexuals. I'm straight. I think that people have many friends outside of who they identify with, but we also get in our small groups. Sometimes I get with black people. Sometimes I get with males. Sometimes my male friends and I is mostly straight people or all straight males. You can get with smaller groups who you're similar with, but also at other times be around diverse people. Just like sometimes you're around your family, sometimes you go by your friends, sometimes you go by strangers. See, he thinks he's being very smart by talking about how we're somewhat alike, but then we're different. Well, nobody's exactly the same. So it's okay for us to not assimilate. It's okay for us to integrate at times and then segregate. The only issue with segregation is that it was forced segregation and you could not integrate at all. Now, we don't force segregation and you're allowed to integrate. So in defense of whites, I do understand and believe it's okay for whites to at times, just like other groups, separate themselves. They have all black meetings sometimes, or they have all black I don't want to call them clubs because then you go down the line of whites and other groups having their clubs and not allowing other people. But there are times I think that races can break off if there's nothing nefarious happening. Now, he brought up HBCUs. We only have HBCUs because white people wouldn't let us into their schools. I have argued with my family many times that maybe we should reconsider how we run HBCUs, who we allow in, just how the system itself works, because I believe now blacks are allowed to go to what they call predominantly white schools. So I think the HBCUs still have a value and still have a place, but they themselves have opened up to people of diverse backgrounds, and I think that should continue. Like Xavier College in New Orleans is a strong HBCU college, and people of Asians, Middle Eastern people, and whites go to study medicine and other courses. And it's a HBCU just like Howard in DC where Kamala Harris went, and they're just strong schools. They're HBCUs, but they're strong colleges, similar to somewhere like Alabama or LSU. So I understand some of what Nick is saying, but I think for the most part we can and we should assimilate. And I think instead of him tearing down the dream of America, which is a melting pot, I think he should use his brains to unite people, as I'm trying to do. So he brings a lot to the table that should be considered, and there's nothing wrong with segregation. Well, something's wrong with segregation, but there's nothing wrong with segregating at times. And the point of desegregation was to allow integration, but we don't always sorry for coughing, guys, my sinuses. We don't always have to be integrated. I didn't appreciate the digs where he talked about black people wanting a green and red flag because he's saying all blacks like watermelon, all blacks like chicken. I like watermelon. I like chicken. I listen to rap music and I rap. I think that all of these stereotypes that they're trying to put on us, they're a joke. We should be who we are and be proud of ourselves and show my producer's upset. I'm not sure why. Maybe because I said I rap. I'm not sure. But as black people, we have to be proud of who we are and what we are. So I care about politics. I care about social things. I care about the people at the barbershop. I care about the people in New York and the politicians. And I believe that everybody is intelligent, but we talk about intelligence in different ways. So everybody may not have a high IQ, but again, everybody can be productive and everybody can add to this society. So me, as being a black male, I like when Nick talked about the watermelons. I like when he talked about the chickens. I love how they talk bad about the young black males and they try to define us and stereotype us about the rap music and things. Rap is poetry. Kendrick Lamar is out here using motifs and using alliteration and other English things that we learn, and that's why they study Kendrick Lamar in college. That's why they study Shakespeare. That's why they study J. Cole. So the reason that I brought this up is just to encourage other black people to always be who you are and don't be apologetic and show the world everything that we have. We should call our community out when we do bad, but we should also highlight all of the blacks who are working at barbershops and who own small businesses and who are opening up restaurants. And these restaurants don't just serve black people. I live in New Orleans. All of the black, not all, well, yes, all of the black restaurants that are owned by black people, we serve whites, we serve Vietnamese, we serve Italians, we serve Jewish people. So just because something is black owned doesn't mean it's only for blacks. And just because they're telling us because we rap it's bad, we don't have to listen to that. We have to be strong in who we are. And as I'm doing right now, explain to people why we're doing what we're doing. Just like you have young people who want to play basketball, you have young people who want to be NASA. You may have black kids who want to grow up and rap hasn't worked for me. So rap may not work for you, but take the knowledge that you learn from rap and carry that on into what you do in life. If blacks took the same time that they take writing those raps to understand what they're doing in terms of stanzas, in terms of rhymes, in terms of rhyme structure, you could use that intelligence to do better in school, not just in English, but you can use that in math and other school type work. So I know I ramble a lot, and maybe the producer has to cut this short because this is a long response. But my point was, he was coming at black people. He was saying what we do wrong, how we can't assimilate, and he said this about Muslims. So what I may have to do is may break this up into me reacting to him about a few things, because he said a lot of things about Muslims that wasn't true. He said a lot of things about Indians. Indians are doing very well in math and science. Indians are doing very well in terms of entrepreneurship. Indians are considered Caucasians, so not many people realize Indians are 1% of the population. So I'm not talking about all Asians. They're 1% of the population, but they're paying 5% of the taxes. So to sit here and say that the Indians are Jeets, because that's what they calling them on X. They calling them Jeets. They running around talking about they pooping in the street. They running around talking about they dirty, but they not talking about all the innovation that the Indians are bringing. They're not talking about all the dollars that the Indians are bringing. So a lot of people are going to get upset because when I start talking about white people the way they talking about us, the people of color, it's going to agitate some people. But I don't give a fuck. I'm going to tell the truth, and whoever sees it is going to respond. So however the producer decides to cut this is fine with me. I'm a loving person, but like I tell you guys, I'm going to tell the truth, and that's what I'm about. If you like this video, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. New shows airing Monday through Thursday.